He turned his country's currency into toilet paper. This is the story of how a freedom fighter destroyed everything he fought for. The year is 1924. In the Kutama mission of Southern Rhodesia, a boy is born to a carpenter and a teacher. His name is Robert Gabriel Mugabe. When Robert is 10, his father abandons the family, but his mother refuses to let him quit school. So he studied and studied. By the time he's 35, he has 7 degrees. 7. He becomes a teacher. He's calm, intellectual, and soft-spoken. His students describe him as gentle and patient. But something is burning inside him. Southern Rhodesia is a British colony. A tiny minority of white settlers owns everything. Just 5% of the population controls 70% of the land. Black Africans can't vote, can't own property in white areas, and can't even walk on certain sidewalks. In 1960, Mugabe joins the resistance. He gives speeches. He organizes protests. The Rhodesian government isn't happy. They arrest him in 1964 and sentence him to 11 years in prison. 11 years. While he's inside, his 3-year-old son dies of malaria. The authorities refuse to let Mugabe attend the funeral. Something inside him breaks. He spends the rest of his prison time reading, planning, and hardening. When he's released in 1974, the soft-spoken teacher is gone. In his place is a guerrilla leader. What he does next will shock the white government. But the real shock? It's what he becomes after he wins. Mugabe flees to Mozambique and takes control of ZANU, the Zimbabwe African National Union. He builds an army, training them in guerrilla warfare. The brutal Bush War begins. ZANU attacks white-owned farms, government infrastructure, and even civilian targets. The Rhodesian military retaliates fiercely. Villages burn. Thousands die. The war drags on for 5 years. By 1979, it's clear neither side can win. Britain forces negotiations. At Lancaster House in London, Mugabe sits across from the white Rhodesian leaders. They think they can control him, limit his power. They agree to hold elections. February 1980. It's Zimbabwe's first free election. Mugabe's party wins 57 out of 80 seats. A landslide. On March 4, 1980, Robert Mugabe becomes Prime Minister of the newly independent Zimbabwe. The world celebrates. The United Nations cheers. Even white Rhodesians are relieved. His first speech is about reconciliation. If yesterday I fought you as an enemy, he says, today you have become a friend. He keeps white farmers in place. He appoints white ministers to his cabinet. The economy grows. Schools open. Healthcare expands. For 5 years, Mugabe is seen as a model African leader. Western governments shower him with praise. In 1994, he's even knighted by Queen Elizabeth. But behind the scenes, something else is happening. There's a region of Zimbabwe that supported his political rival. And Mugabe has not forgotten. This region is Matabeleland, home of the Ndebele people. They voted for Joshua Nkomo, Mugabe's rival. Mugabe never forgives this. In January 1983, he deploys the 5th Brigade. This is a special unit trained by North Koreans. Their mission is simple: crush all opposition. What happens next is known as Gukurahundi, a phrase that means the rain that washes away the chaff. Villages are surrounded at night. Men are shot, women are raped. Survivors are forced to dig mass graves and then dance on them. The 5th Brigade operates for 4 years. They kill an estimated 20,000 people. Some estimates are much higher. and the world barely notices. If you're shocked by what you're hearing, wait until you see what he does to the economy. Hit that subscribe button, because this gets even worse. By the late 1990s, Mugabe's grip on power is slipping. A new opposition party emerges, the MDC. Young people are demanding change. Mugabe panics. In February 2000, he holds a referendum to change the constitution and give himself more power. The people vote no. It's his first political defeat in 20 years. He snaps. Within weeks, he unleashes the war veterans. They aren't really veterans. Most are too young. They're thugs and militias loyal to Mugabe. He sends them to invade white-owned farms. They burn crops, beat workers, and kill farmers. 11 white farmers are murdered in the first year alone. Thousands more flee. Mugabe seizes 4,000 commercial farms. He redistributes them to his loyalists' party officials and generals. Most of them know nothing about farming. The farms collapse. Zimbabwe, once called the breadbasket of Africa, can no longer feed itself. In 2001, the GDP shrinks by 8%. The next year, by 12%. By 2003, inflation hit 600%. But Mugabe just keeps printing money. He prints billions, then trillions. The currency becomes worthless. By 2008, inflation reaches an unimaginable 89.7 sextillion%. That's 89 with 21 zeros after it. A loaf of bread costs 300 billion Zimbabwe dollars. The government prints a $100 trillion note, but it's not enough to buy a bus ticket. People literally use the bills as toilet paper, because it's cheaper than actual toilet paper. Hospitals run out of medicine. Cholera spreads. Schools close. Life expectancy plummets to just 34 years. Unemployment hits 94%. 3 million Zimbabweans flee the country. And through it all, Mugabe lives in a palace. He throws lavish birthday parties. He flies to Singapore for medical care. His wife, Grace, goes on shopping sprees in Dubai and Paris, earning her the nickname Gucci Grace. The people starve. Mugabe doesn't care. He thinks he's invincible. But even dictators have an expiration date. November 2017. Mugabe is 93 years old and has ruled for 37 years. He's trying to make his wife Grace his successor. The military hates this idea. On November 13th, tanks roll into the capital, Harare. The military places Mugabe under house arrest. They call it not a coup, but it's absolutely a coup. For 6 days, Mugabe refuses to resign. On November 19th, Parliament begins impeachment proceedings. That same day, Mugabe's resignation letter finally arrives. The crowd erupts in celebration. People dance in the streets. After 37 long years, the dictator is gone. Mugabe retreats to his mansion. He's given immunity, a pension, and protection. He lives there quietly for 2 years. On September 6, 2019, Robert Mugabe dies in a Singapore hospital at the age of 95. The government declares him a national hero. They want to bury him at the National Heroes Acre, but his family refuses. They bury him at his rural home instead. Here's the cruel irony. Mugabe fought for freedom, equality, and justice. He spent 11 years in prison for those ideals. And then he became the very thing he fought against. He took a country full of potential and reduced it to ruin. Zimbabwe still hasn't recovered. The currency is still unstable. The farms are still unproductive. An entire generation lost their future because one man couldn't let go of power. And here is the question nobody wants to ask. How many other liberation heroes are following the same path right now? How many freedom fighters will become tomorrow's tyrants? History keeps showing us the pattern. We just keep ignoring it. If this story made you think twice about political heroes, share it. And subscribe, because next week we're exposing another leader who promised paradise and delivered hell. Thanks for watching.